So I want to do one more two-way ANOVA problem. Lesson 26, exercise 2, Green and Salkin, page 208, about a third of the way down, where it starts with exercise 5 through 8. And if you call that up, it looks like this. And some of you wrote this up for your APA write-up, and this is a good one to write up. You can still write it up, even though I'm going to do the problem. I'm not going to do the write-up for you, so you can still do the write-up yourself. So the scenario is that we want to know how much time fathers who have children with disability play with their children. So I have fathers in 6 categories. Fathers altogether, fathers that are parents of males and females. That's one data, gender. And then 3 different kinds of disability. One was no disability at all, one with a physical disability, and then children who had intellectual disabilities. So 3 levels of disability, 2 levels of gender. That's 3 times 2 is 6 altogether. So it's a 3 by 2 or a 2 by 3 ANOVA. 2 ways because we've got 2 independent variables. So if you see the way the data is already set up for you, that's set up a lot like we set up ourselves the homework problem, but it's already there for you. So I'm going to go to Analyze, General Linear Model. It's still univariate because it's one dependent variable. We're going to get into the second half of the course. We're going to do multivariate, which is going to give us an additional dependent variable. This has 2 independent variables. This still has one dependent variable, so it's still univariate. Click that, and my dependent variable is play. That's the only dependent variable. Again, there's just room for one of them because that's what univariate is. The other 2 are independent or fixed factors. Disability status, and it labels them 1, 2, and 3. It labels what they are. You'll see that on the outline. Gender, which is either male or female. 6 different categories. I'm going to look at options, and I want to look at each individual main effect, which is the disability and the gender. Those are the main effects, but I also want to look at the interaction. Maybe certain disabilities are different for boys and girls. Interaction. I want to click on descriptive statistics because I want those means and standard deviations. I want to click on effect size because I want those eta square numbers. And I'm going to click on homogeneity test because we're going to use that later. I keep saying. Click continue. Do I want anything else? I don't think I want anything else right now. I don't. So I'm going to click OK and get an output window. If I can find it. There it is. Nope, that's not it. Find it there, and I'm first of all going to look for the interaction. Is this line. Find out, to my somewhat great relief, there's no significant interaction. That means disability doesn't behave differently for boys and girls anywhere down the line, or vice versa. I also want to look at my main effects, the disability and the gender, and I find out there is a significant difference for disability, not a significant difference for gender. So is your SPSS keeping up now? Some of you, and I've gotten some emails. Several of you are having some SPSS problems. I've heard. Maybe you just have to follow along in your hymnal later with the. I suspect that's probably on our end if more than one of you are having that trouble. Anyway, so I need to follow up now with a question. I'm guessing that's the people who are using the Citrix server. Yes, those are the ones that specifically I've heard of. So you couldn't get that to work either? What you have to do is you have to open it first and then go to open and then find your data set off of a flash drive or something. You can't just click on the file and open it up. You've got to open it like this. File. Oh no, sorry. Let me close this. File, open, and then go to data and then find it. You have to browse and find it from here. And then open it like this. Yeah, you can't just directly click on this. It won't open SPSS. You have to have SPSS open first for you. But a lot of people have been telling me that it's been working earlier and it just kind of stopped. That's what concerns me more. I don't know. That's my considered opinion. That's my diagnosis. I don't know. It's not working. Something's and sometimes seems to me it's kind of clunky. Even when I get it to work, it's a little sluggish, at least for me. So, disability, gender, and interaction. Significant, not significant, not significant. So, how many follow-up analysis do we need to do? We need to do one just for disability. If gender had been significantly different, how many follow-up analysis would we need to do? Just one, because there are only two levels of gender. Notice two levels of gender. Notice that, see where I'm pointing? The degree of freedom is 1. That means there are two things. If you get a degree of freedom of 1, meaning two things, you don't have to do any follow-up analysis because there's only one way you can have a difference, because you just have two things that you have to compare to each other. So that's where the difference is going to be. In our case, though, we've got to compare 3 different levels of disability. So don't have to worry about whether the kids are male or female, just the kind of disability they have. So I can write, so for my interaction, and you do report this, and again, some of you have already written this up, and then that's fine. You can still write it up. Turned that in just yet. So for the interaction, we're going to have f of 2 and 54 degrees of freedom. That f value is 0.653. Notice that's a pretty small number, which is what you're going to expect when the significant or the p-value is not significant. So p is equal to 0.525. I like to say ns, and my square number is 0.024, which is going to be indicative of a small effect size. I do the same thing for each of the main effects. I'll just write the disability one. F of 2 and 54 degrees of freedom. Right? See where the 2 and 54 comes from? Here's the 2 right here. It's the same 54 here. That F value is 27.14. The p-value is less than 0.001. That's significant. That is squared is 0.501, which is, I think, medium to large effect size. That's the one I have to follow it for. I would also write one for the gender, but I'm going to get a p-value that's not small enough to be significant. I need to go back and do follow-up for disability. So if I go back to, oops, I want that. I go back to analyze, general linear model, everything is still in place. I just have to go to post-hoc And the one I said, oops, I already asked for that. That's got old data in it. I didn't clear it out. Analyze, general linear model, univariate. I want to reset all this mess. Now everything's in place. Okay, so post hoc, and the only one I want to do is disability. Spooky. We'll maybe see some other examples later. We'll do something different. And post hoc for okay. I'm going to scroll down to the multiple comparisons. And typically developing, that was the no disability is going to be compared with those who had a physical disability. No disability is also going to be compared with those who are mentally disabled, and physical and mental disabilities are going to be compared as well. And it looks like hang on, I'll get to your question in just a second. The differences I have are in the typically developing and each of the other two. So there's a significant difference in the amount of play fathers engaging with their children, depending on whether their child is typically developing or has no disability and has some kind of disability, either physical or mental. Because typically developing is significantly different, because those are my significant p-values right here. What both these lines have in common is they're comparing a disability with someone with no disability. I've got several questions. I'm trying to get to it. I can't get to it. I've got to uncover some stuff on my screen. Okay, what questions did I miss? Now I see your comments. Working now, but slow. It was fine. Great, it was fine yesterday. Helps a lot. You didn't see. Okay, so I need to go back and do the follow up again. Okay, let me go back and do the follow up again real quick. Are you seeing the SPSS on the screen now or not? Do it another way. If I'm right, you should see the data view of SPSS on your screen. Do you? Y'all have that here on the screen? Now, I know it's here, but I don't know if it's here or there. You don't have it up? Okay, that's what I'm asking for. Oh, okay. Okay, see, okay. Oh, that's right. Okay, see, could say, okay, so somebody says you've got the data view. Yeah, when I move, I know when I move, it goes off. Sometimes my microphone does that too. When I move, my microphone turns off, and that's when I lose sound a lot. I've guessed right. You should have data view in front of you now again. Okay, so let's go back and do the follow-up one more time. So I'm going to go to Analyze, and General Linear Model, Univariate. Everything is in place where I left it. So I'm going to go to Post-hoc, and we decided the only Post-hoc I need to do is for disability. So I want to make sure I move disability from that top left box to the top right box. And I selected Tukey, so when I click Continue and I cleared out the old output window, so I'm going to get a brand new one now. It's going to say the same thing. So when I click OK, here it is. I want to go to the end. I want to look at the multiple comparisons. So let's draw my lines again. Disability, typically developing, means no disability. So I'm comparing no disability to a physical disability, which is between typical and physical. I'm comparing typical or no disability to those who have mental disabilities. So comparing typically to mental, and then comparing physical to mental. And if I look at those lines in my significance column right here, I'm going to find, looking for below 5, put below 0.05, I'm going to say yes, yes, and no. And of the two yeses that I've clicked on, or I've checked on, those are between student or children who have no disability and who have some kind of disability, either mental or physical. So it appears that there's a significant difference in the amount of playtime fathers have with their children, depending on if they have no disability or if they have some kind of disability. Notice there's no difference between the types of disability because my p-value is way more than 0.05. A significant difference in types of illness. So types of disability don't seem to matter. Whether they have a disability or not, that seems to matter. Get everything on screen like I intended to that time. Some things actually worked. Close out this recording then on the Way ANOVA, if that's okay.